CNN News 18 has been able to access CCTV footage from Alibag. Remember, this is where the mastermind of this entire racket, Shahnawaz, he was staying at this lodge, which is being shown to you in the CCTV footage. He was here on a different identity along with his brother. We're crossing back over to CNN News 18's Yasha Kotak. Yasha, tell us more about what we can see in the CCTV visuals.
So these CCTV visuals are in fact of the accused leaving from the lodge. Like we mentioned, he was staying there under a different identity, under a different name. So in fact now cops will also gather CCTV footages of different locations that he stayed at, because this will be instrumental to understand as to where all he tried to change his location. This would also help cops piece together various evidences about who was really helping him, because like we've mentioned earlier as well, he was on a run for 11 days. His bank accounts were freezed. One of the bank accounts in Mumbai, which belonged to the Kotak Bank, had 19,000 in it, but he had no access to them. So, considering he was changing his locations, was there someone guiding him? Because there's a possibility that there's another mastermind in this case also who was helping him change locations, who was helping him guide as to where he can go to and getting him access to money. So, all these evidences that cops would now gather would help them piece together the entire case. Here, the case is about Shahnawaz Khan, because Shahnawaz Khan was on the run, but later on it was his mother who went and recorded the statement. Considering that after 11 days of chase, he was finally arrested from Alibag. There's a preliminary information that they've gotten from him after the investigation was done last night. But there's a lot more that needs to be unearthed in this larger nexus. So here, when you speak of Shahnawaz Khan, apart from him, who else was involved in Maharashtra? We also have the name of Nanni, who was a Maulvi, who was a part of this nexus. But are there more people involved with him in Maharashtra? Something that this investigation would throw a light on, and which is where such evidences such as CCTV footages, call records would all be scanned by cops. Yes.
Yasha, let's also talk about the victims in this case. When we had unearthed, essentially when we conducted this expose last week, we had learned about 5 children who had been identified in this, but we're also talking about teenagers. Can you tell us about the age range of the victims and more about that angle as well?
So when you speak of the accused, he is 23-year-old, but his victims were usually in the teenage, all within the range of 18, less than 20, primarily because these people he target were people he could easily convince. The idea here was to target youngsters in the teenage group, so that they could be easily convinced, and they were people who would be very active on these gaming platforms. But I understand it's the first such instance wherein a gaming platform has been used to reach out to such victims, which is where the age group of these is around teenagers, because it's easy to convince them. Like we've mentioned, he would get access to them on different platforms. Firstly, connect with them on Fortnite. Then after connecting them with them on Fortnite, he would eventually speak to them on Discord, this app this feature within the app. As a part of the access on Discord, they would have conversations. He'd befriend them. After befriending them, he'd take access to their phone numbers and then move on to a different platform, that's Wolverine. On that, after reaching a particular level, they would get access to Icebox, which is where the conversations would begin. Because they've exchanged numbers, they'd befriend. Here, he'd convince these youngsters. He convinces youngsters that if they recite Quran, it will be easy for them to win the game. And he would let them win the game then. That's how he'd play with the psyche of these youngsters. That's where he'd play with the psyche of these teenagers. Most of the victims that we've come across have been teenagers, and which is where, considering he'd play with their psyche and then ask them to, and then show them videos of Zakir Naik. Apart from that, he'd show them videos of Pakistani preachers as well. And that's where he tried to play with their mind. So this is exactly been the modus operandi that was followed by Shahnawaz Khan. And as a part of this, cops are also investigating as to who all he's tried to reach out to and who actually have been victims of this. Yes.
Yasha, thank you so much for joining us and getting us those very important details when it comes to this conversion racket. But we